Hello, and welcome to Weekend Wisdom. My name is Tracy Whitney. I am the content director at Creating a Family. I'm also the host for today's episode of Weekend Wisdom, which is our short podcast that answers specific questions, challenges, or dilemmas that adoptive, foster, or kinship parents may face as they're raising their families. It's your opportunity to engage with us, and we take your questions, we comb through our archives, we look for expert-based solutions to what it is that you're facing, and we craft them into an answer that we hope strengthens your family and other families who are listening. So if you have a question for Weekend Wisdom, please send it to info@creatingafamily.org, and we'll put you in the queue, and we'll do our research, and we'll find something to hopefully strengthen and support your family. Today's question comes from Kaylee. She says, "Hello, thank you so much for all the wonderful podcasts and resources you prepare. It is incredibly helpful. I apologize if the below has been asked before, but here's my question. We have been matched with an expectant mom who is due in a couple months. She's having twins. As we are preparing for the next steps, sleep training has come up quite frequently in the newborn care books that we've been reading. What research is there on the cry it out method or other popular sleep training methods in relation to adopted children? We want to make sure that we know their needs and meet those needs and build a strong adoption bond, but we also eventually want to work towards helping them sleep through the night. Thank you, Kaylee." Well, Kaylee, wow, twins. You must be feeling a big mix of nervousness and joy and anticipation and suspense. And oh my goodness, are we ever going to sleep again? And all of that is completely normal. So let's talk about sleep with newly adopted twins in a way that keeps things practical and grounded in what we know from attachment science and sleep science. But first, I feel like I need to offer a caveat or two about prenatal exposure. You don't mention whether or not the twins have had any known prenatal substance exposure to alcohol or drugs, but if it's even a possibility, it's something that you should be paying attention to. Babies who experience substances in utero often have more sensitive, delicate nervous systems. This means that they may struggle with feeding issues or soothing issues or getting comfortable enough to even fall asleep or stay asleep. So for these babies who have had prenatal exposure, sleep training is not the goal. The goal is co-regulation. Early sleep training is not the goal. We'll say it that way. Helping their bodies settle, reducing the stimulation that they may be experiencing and taking in, and then finding what soothes this particular baby. If you're meeting the babies in the hospital, it's perfectly acceptable to ask the nurses, what have you figured out that helps this baby calm or soothe? And they often will already know the answers to that. The magic tricks of soothing prenatally exposed babies are sometimes different or more intense and more intentional than the methods that maybe one would use on a baby who has had no prenatal exposure. So that leads us into sleep training and the topic of sleep issues for babies. And there's a lot of debate and competition and even shame around the topic of sleep training. It's a pretty hot topic in every mommy circle I've ever been a part of. The reality is that sleep training for adopted children should be viewed through a different lens, similar to how you are viewing it if you know that they have prenatal exposure. That's a different lens. So viewing sleep training through the lens of adoption should be different. I recently read an article that broke down the cry it out method and the science of infant sleep, and I will link it in the show notes to give you some context for the information that I'm about to share with you today. I thought it was a great article, but again, that's coming from my lens of sleep training being a hot topic and a controversial topic in all the mommy circles I've ever been in. And I've done bio-parenting and adoptive parenting both. So I maybe have a different lens than some other people who would read the article, but I'll link it in the show notes for you. So let's start with the framework of the science of attachment to answer your questions about sleep training. For adoptive families who are starting from scratch to build this attachment relationship, meaning you haven't carried the child and you haven't had that biological exchange of attachment going on for the 9 months leading up to birth. For adoptive families, there's 2 simple questions that can help you decide what to do about sleep and sleep training. The first question is, does my method or preferred approach support my child feeling safe? And the second question is, does it teach them that we will respond to their communications? Within that framework, there's plenty of room to guide you and your child towards healthy sleep habits while still protecting that developing attachment relationship between you and the babies. And again, we are couching all of this in terms of the science of attachment, but also the fact that there's 2 of them that you have to take care of and that you need to be rested to take care of. So let's talk about the context of adoption and attachment specific to sleep, because sleep and the ability to settle starts with that sense of safety. That first question, does my method or my preferred approach help my baby feel safe? I'm going to link also my favorite video about the science of attachment in the show notes in case you hadn't seen it before. But here's the science of it in a nutshell. Crying is a communication, and it's often the only communication that your child has until they develop language. I mean, it's literally the only language they have until they have words. So every time your baby cries and you respond by feeding, rocking, changing, or just offering comfort, a back rub or, a little pat on the bum, your baby's brain builds neural pathways that says, I expressed a need and someone comes. I am safe. And that's the cycle. So this cry and response and relief loop is the foundation of secure attachment. They cry, you respond, they feel safe. They know that the next time they cry, you will respond and they'll feel safe. And it just keeps building on itself. You don't have to be perfect in your responses by any means. And trust me, with twins, you won't be. With any baby, you won't be. And you don't need to jump up at every sound they make, but consistent responsiveness over time teaches a baby's brain that the world is predictable and that caregivers are trustworthy and that they can feel safety. So for adopted infants who may not have had that predictability thus far, maybe they've had very unpredictable in utero experiences or unpredictability in the early weeks and months before you take placement of them to your home, this consistency is even more important. It does not mean you can't rest, but it does mean that responding to their needs is the paramount objective here. So you are making yourself available, you're being predictable, you're being consistent, and you're attuned to what you learn their cries to mean. So here's a couple, attachment-friendly strategies that will help everybody get sleep while still being available, attuned, and predictable for this baby. The first one is to try and room share in the early months, whether that's a bassinet or a co-sleeper or a side sleeper that's pulled, right up next to your bed. It allows you to reach over, pat their tummy if they're sleeping on their back, or, rub their head if that seems soothing to them, or just a quick shh, which is very soothing to a baby's nervous system before they fully wake up. Those kinds of things are facilitated by room sharing. Baby wearing during the day. When babies get a ton of regulating contact, skin to skin, body to body, heartbeat to heartbeat during the day, it can leak over into the night, so to speak. It's building security, it's draining stress that they might be feeling in their little central nervous system, and it can lead to easier nights. If they're regulated during the day, it helps them figure out how to be regulated at night better. A third thing that you can do in these early days and months that will help build healthy sleep habits is to learn their language. They're incredibly noisy sleepers. I have never understood why people say, oh, I slept like a baby. Babies don't sleep soundly, quietly, or still. They are noisy. They grunt and squeak and make little cries they don't even know that they're making. They wiggle. Their little fingers scritch against the sheets. All of those things are consistent to a baby's sleep pattern, but it doesn't mean they always need something. And over time, as you learn these babies, you'll learn what sounds mean I'm awake and I need help, and what sounds mean I'm just resetting myself or I'm just trying to get comfortable. And so figuring that out will take some time. It'll take trial and error. It'll take practice. It'll be helped by things like room sharing in the early months overnight and baby wearing during the day, because you're intimately getting to know their rhythms and their cycles. The fourth thing that can help with building those healthy sleep habits at night is to embrace the fact that these twins are two different people. Even if they're identical twins, they are two different, distinct, unique people. One might sleep longer than the other. One might sleep deeper than the other. One might have some, sensory sensitivities to light or to scritchy clothes. One might need more help settling and soothing than the other one. All of that is totally normal. It exists on a very wide range of normal, and you're not doing anything wrong. You've just got two nervous systems to figure out, two little personalities and temperaments to figure out. And you're just going to keep trying and trying and trying until you figure it out. And it's not that you're doing anything wrong again. I also want to encourage you and your partner, if you have one. Hopefully, if you are adopting twins, you have some consistent, safe other adult around with you every day. But I want to encourage you and your partner to set some realistic expectations for what sleep might look like in these early days. The range of what babies might need as to cumulative hours of sleep, and the range of how much sleep they actually get in any given little deposit of time is vastly different for every baby and for every stage that they're experiencing. So in these early days, while you're figuring all of that out, lower your expectations of what sleep looks like and what you can do or get done while they're sleeping, and surround yourself by people who will support you to rest when they're resting. And I know that sounds trite. I know that for ages and ages and ages, grandmothers have been saying, sleep when the baby sleeps. They're not wrong. It's hard, and it's harder when there's two of them, but rest doesn't have to look like sleep for you. It can just be putting your feet up with a nice cozy blanket and laying your head back on the back of the chair with, two babies asleep in your arms. And that's rest. Let your body rest. Let your body acclimate. So instead of aiming for this ideal of everyone sleeping through the night, maybe consider aiming for steady, consistent routines that are going to be building towards sleeping through the night eventually. Anything you can do to surround yourself with help to get to that point, for as long as you need it, is stuff that you should be doing. So that might look like setting up a predictable feeding schedule, setting up a calming nighttime rhythm that you replicate every night, even if they don't fall asleep through that nighttime routine. Making sure you do it every night will start to signal their brain and body to respond. So have a quiet, dim space, quiet voices, quiet music, white noise machine. Follow the same routine every single night. The point isn't to create the perfect nighttime routine. The point is to create a pattern that their bodies and their brains can come to count on, that will tell them, okay, now it's time for my body to come down off the day's high and relax and rest so that I can sleep. You are going to kind of hold that expectation of sleep like a baby loosely, and then you're also going to hold the expectation that they fall asleep every time you do this nighttime routine loosely. And then you're also going to try and surround yourself by those people who can help you do this. Twins are no joke. And if you're exhausted, everything about raising these twins is going to feel harder and bigger, and becoming emotionally available for when that baby needs you requires that you surround yourself by people who are willing to get it and willing to walk through that time with you. Your focus is on building that healthy attachment and that predictability and that sense that they can count on you to feel safe. And so you should kind of create like this little ecosystem around your family, asking for people to come and take a shift when you just really need to sleep. Can they come and just hold the babies? Asking if somebody could stock your freezer with meals. Somebody could come pick up your laundry and do your laundry every week for you until somebody gets some sleep. Extend a leave from work since you're having twins. See if you'd be eligible for extra time off. Some people hire nighttime doulas or postpartum helpers. And if you can swing that financially, it might be a great idea to help you get through the hump of the early days and weeks of parenting twins. If you can try and train yourself to keep a canned response ready when people say, hey, let me know if I can help, you immediately say, hey, a frozen meal for my freezer would be awesome. Or would you come pick up the load of sheets and towels that need to be washed this week? Having some sort of canned response to those inquiries, because people are pretty quick and free to throw out that, hey, let me know if I can help. You need to be just as quick to respond with, this is exactly what I need to help. So let people in. Let your babies experience other safe, calm caregivers that are supporting you in this process. And the bottom line is that the science of attachment can sometimes feel like it's at odds with the science of sleep training. And that will be especially true to your brain and body in those very early weeks and months of bringing the twins home. So instead, maybe consider training yourself to be flexible, to reduce expectations, and to build the basic, easy to implement routines and rhythms into your home that allow you the space and freedom to respond consistently and compassionately to your baby's communications. You're going to be wiring their brain for safety and connection when you do this. And ultimately, it will be a much more peaceful experience that can lend itself to not just good sleep for all of you at some point, but also good, healthy, secure attachment between you. You don't have to choose between the two, but you may have to delay the sleep training mentality while you're focusing on the getting everybody rested and building strong and secure attachment. Remember that safe babies settle more easily. And when I say safe babies, I mean babies who feel safety because of your consistency and your predictability. Safe babies learn better how to adapt to the rhythms of your family's nighttime routines. And over time, yes, safe babies do sleep. So work on building the relationship that makes all of that safety possible. And truly, these babies are so lucky to have you already digging into this kind of information for them and on their behalf. It's impressive that you're being so thoughtful about how to get all of this right, and just take yourself off the hook and say, it's not about getting it right. It's about getting present and consistent and predictable for this baby to feel safe in my care. Thanks so much for listening. I hope that this helped you, Kaylee, but I also hope that it helped other listeners who may be struggling with sleep in those early days and weeks home with a brand new baby. Pre-congratulations to you on the twins that you are expecting through this adoption process. We wish you the best, and we hope that you come back and check in with us. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/groups/creating-a-family. We'd love to hear how things are going, and I think it'd be a great place for you to connect with other new parents as well. Thanks again for listening, and we'll catch you next week.